Today is 28th January 2021 and it has been almost 30 days since I got frostbitten in the mountains of Zanskar, and after 30 days this is the state of my feet. It was a series of silly mistakes, that led me to be frostbitten for the first time in the mountains. And the number one reason I think is that Zanskar is very deceptively cold. See, right now I'm sitting outside in the sun and it is actually very warm because there is a lot of snow around, and the snow reflects the sunlight from all directions and it makes it very warm during the daytime. But at the same time, when the sun goes down, it gets really, really cold because even a slight breeze will bring the cold air from the mountains, from the snow, and it makes it really cold. So what happened was that some 30 days back I went above the mountains in Stongde to camp there for a few days because the villagers were going to bring their yaks from the mountains, and I wanted to camp there and take some videos of them coming down from the mountains. So it was a nice sunny day when I went up to the Stongde Doksa where I was supposed to camp, and I made a mistake of wearing not too many layers of socks. So I have these merino wool socks from Decathlon, and they're actually quite warm, but what happens is that they get worn off quite easily. This is a new pair, but I had an old pair when I was going up, and it had almost worn off in the bottom of my feet, in the soles of my feet, and it had a huge bald spot. I didn't think much about it that time, and I thought it'll be okay because it was quite warm. But halfway through the hike, the sun went down and it got really cold. And by the time I reached my campsite, both my feet and my body was really cold. And it took a long time for me to pitch my tent and go inside. Another big reason for my frostbite is the leather boots that I wear. I like wearing leather boots more than Gore-Tex because leather is very breathable and more comfortable to wear. But leather has one big issue: it needs regular wax application to maintain its waterproofness. Otherwise, the leather becomes dry and absorbs water while hiking. So on warm winter days, the snow melts around the boots and it absorbs a lot of that water. And the wet boots freeze the moment the sun goes down, turning them into blocks of ice. This has happened to me a couple of times before as well, but I somehow escaped getting frostbite back then. But what happened this time was that the cold shoes and thin socks combined to drastically reduce the temperature of my feet, which resulted in the frostbite. So another mistake I made was that I did not cook anything that evening because I was very tired. So I went inside my sleeping bag and I just wanted to warm up. So that was a big mistake because if I had cooked something, then I would have used my stove and I could have warmed up my feet by the warmth of the stove, but I did not do that. So I just went into the sleeping bag and just rested in my tent. But the thing was that my feet were really cold because they were like blocks of ice, but the night was actually quite warm inside my tent and my sleeping bag, and I thought that my feet will get warm by itself. So and the next day was also quite warm, so I spent the whole morning in the tent in the sunlight. The tent acts like a greenhouse when you pitch it in the sun and you close all the doors, so it was quite warm inside, and I thought my feet will get better by itself. So after 3 days I left Stongde and came to the village of Pishu to meet a friend from a couple of years back, somebody I met during a camp in Leh called Gyatso Tungtong. So I came to his house. So that evening before going to sleep, I told him that my feet got very cold in Stongde, and the moment he heard it, he was very concerned and he wanted to see my feet. So I opened my socks. Actually didn't open my socks for the last 2 or 3 days. So I opened my socks and both of us were quite shocked to see the state of my feet. Both my feet were swollen and my toes were all like quite dark, not very black, but they were quite dark. And he was very concerned on seeing that. And it was a Saturday, so the next day was Sunday, so there was no vehicle going to Padam. Even if I had to go to the hospital the next day, there was no way that I could go. So instead what he suggested was to do the local treatment, which is to burn off the cold parts of my feet with a red hot knife till the feeling comes. I was actually very reluctant to do it, and initially I refused, but he kept insisting, saying that this was the only way to save my feet. And okay, I thought, let's try it on one of my toes. So we burnt my big toe, this one first, and I was very surprised. I thought it will burn, but I did not feel anything at all. So that was the time I realized that this could be quite serious, and I let him burn all my toes one after the other. And slowly and immediately, when he was burning, you can start getting some feeling underneath, like getting some sensation of heat coming slowly to my toes. So my right leg was badly frostbitten, so we burnt most of all my fingers here. And my left feet was quite okay, so he burnt it slightly, and I could get the feeling almost immediately. So he burnt it only on the surface level on these toes. Ooh, wo jal rahi. And that night, it was very painful that night, because actually the blood starts flowing into my toes after being dead for 3 days. And when it happens, it's quite painful, and I experienced it before as well, but not as much as this time. So on Monday, I went to the hospital. I showed the doctors my feet, and by the time I could get feeling in almost all my toes. So there was no danger of frostbite after this, but there was danger of infection, because all the toes wherever he burnt had big blisters in them, and they had swollen and they had water inside. So the doctor told me that it could get infected, and he prescribed me some antibiotics for the infection. And both my feet were still swollen, so he gave me some anti-inflammatory drugs as well. So I don't know if burning my feet was the right thing to do or not. On one hand, it gave me like immediate relief. I got feeling back into my toes, but on the other hand, it had lot of side effects which I'm still trying to recover from. I spent the next 30 days in Pishu resting and taking care of my frostbite. My host Tukche Gyatso and his wife Mutub Dolkar were incredibly helpful, and they took very good care of me. I would wash my feet every day to prevent them from getting infected, and then sit outside in the sun to keep my feet dry and well ventilated. Most of my time was spent indoors, sitting by the stove in the kitchen, warming my feet and spending time with the family and observing them as they went about their various chores. The initial couple of weeks I couldn't go anywhere because my feet were swollen, and I couldn't wear my shoes with any socks on. I could wear my shoes without socks on, but if once I wear my socks, it gets very tight, and it was very uncomfortable to wear my shoes. Achu Gyatso consulted with the local amchi and brought me a medicine called jar to reduce the swelling. amchi ने दिया?
amchi ने
बोला इसमें क्या 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 डाला पता नहीं
वो फिर उसमें बहुत दवाई था ना, क्या क्या डाल के पता नहीं है वो लोकल amchi ने.
It was mixed with atta and water, and the paste was then applied on the swollen parts of my foot and left to dry. The idea was that the jar, when drying, would suck moisture from the skin and help reduce the swelling. I am not sure whether it was the jar or the anti-inflammatory drugs given by the doctor, but my swelling reduced gradually in about 3 weeks, and I was able to wear my shoes and move around again. But now all the swelling has gone down, and it was also very painful wherever there was swelling. The whole part below the swelling was very painful, but now the swelling has gone down and it's not painful at all. It's like slightly, maybe some of my toes which are slightly swollen, they're slightly painful when I press on them, but otherwise mostly it's not painful. Now the biggest concern for me is the healing of this small toe. What happened was that when he burnt, I think he burnt it a lot, and the whole skin peeled off after a couple of days. So, and it's been like 30 days and still new skin hasn't formed in my toe. And this is the worst part, because I can't wear my shoes now. Even if I wear my shoes, the toe rubs against the side of the shoes and it doesn't heal at all. So the most frustrating part is that I am here in such a beautiful place and there are so many interesting things for me to capture, but I'm not able to move around freely. I'm not able to go anywhere that I want. And all other toes are healing properly. Actually, what happens is that the skin around wherever he burnt and even the frostbitten skin had died, and so it's kind of peeling off now, and the skin below it is still raw and bloody. So I don't know, it may take another at least 1 month for me to recover completely from it, because right now all the skin everywhere, it's peeling and it's raw and bloody underneath. Again, if I keep my toes open in dry hair, it's fine because it dries quickly, but the moment I wear my socks, moment I move somewhere, it gets kind of humid inside, it kind of gets wet, and a lot of pus and other discharge comes out of my toes. So it's kind of frustrating that I'm not able to move anywhere. But I'm also happy that at least the frostbite part is recovered, and this healing will take, it's a normal thing and it will take some time, but there is no danger of me losing my toes. 10 days later, I was finally well enough to leave Pishu and head to the Buktar monastery. My toes hadn't healed completely, but still I went ahead anyway and had the best travel experience of my life. It would take another couple of months till the end of April for all my toes to heal and return to normal again. I learnt many valuable lessons on this trip, and hopefully they will help me avoid getting frostbitten in the future.